Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty major. We're talking about Elise Stefanik.
Oh, yeah.
Congresswoman Stefanik.
Right.
Being tapped as the next UN ambassador.
Wow.
By President-elect Trump.
Big news.
Huge implications.
Yeah.
For U.S. foreign policy and, how America operates. On the world stage.
Sure.
So, we've got a lot to unpack here.
We do.
I guess to start, Elise Stefanik, she's got a pretty interesting story.
She does, yeah.
Youngest woman ever elected to Congress.
Yeah, that's right.
And then rose to become, a key Trump ally.
Absolutely.
And now she's heading to the UN.
It's a pretty meteoric.
It's a meteoric rise.
Rise.
And it's worth noting that she's leaving behind a pretty powerful position as the number 4 House Republican.
Yeah, and what that means is she's essentially in charge of wrangling all the Republicans to get their votes in line.
Right. So her absence
is going to be felt. Yeah.
For sure. By the House GOP.
Big time.
Yeah.
Especially considering they're holding a very slim majority in the House right now. So, that could make it even tougher for them to pass legislation. But, I think it's what's really interesting is how her voting record might foreshadow her actions.
That's a good point because Trump called her a, quote, strong, tough, and smart America First fighter.
Yes.
End quote. So our source even mentions, her unwavering support during his second impeachment trial.
Yeah.
So, what do you make of that?
What do I make of that?
Well, what does that tell us about Trump choosing someone like that for this role?
I think it's pretty clear that he wants a strong personality who aligns with his worldview of America First to represent the U.S. at the UN.
To represent the UN now, I guess. Yeah. Like, how should people understand America First?
Well,
what does that even mean?
For first tends to prioritize U.S. interests, sometimes at the expense of, global cooperation.
Right.
Just take Trump pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement.
Right.
That was a very America First move.
Yeah, for sure. So, putting Stefanik in this position, could we see more friction with international
organizations? Especially if she pushes.
That
same agenda.
Yeah.
The source even points out some specific issues. That Stefanik will likely focus on. China and Cuba. On the Human Rights Council, the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict.
Yeah.
And then, the rise of anti-Semitism globally.
Absolutely.
That's a lot on her plate.
That's a lot.
So let's go through these one by one.
Okay.
So Human Rights Council, what could her approach to China and Cuba look like? I think on the Human Rights Council, we could see Stefanik taking a much tougher stance against China and Cuba.
Okay.
Possibly even pushing for their removal.
Wow.
This is in line with her voting record,
which
has consistently reflected strong opposition to both governments.
More confrontational than collaborative then.
It seems that way.
Okay, well, what about Israel-Hamas? That's been such a delicate situation. For years.
It has been.
What could that look like with her at the helm?
It's important to remember that Stefanik has been a staunch supporter of Israel.
Right, throughout her career. Yeah.
Often voting in favor of increased aid and military support.
Right.
So this suggests that at the UN, she'll likely push for a very pro-Israel stance.
Okay.
Which could potentially alienate Palestinian representatives.
Right. And complicate peace negotiations.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Lead to more conflict, or will she somehow find a way to, be more diplomatic? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's tough to say.
It's a tough call.
What about anti-Semitism?
Yeah,
that's a growing concern.
It is a growing concern worldwide.
So you think he thinks it out there?
Well, it's an area where her personal background might come into play. Stefanik has often spoken out against anti-Semitism.
Okay, both. Domestically and internationally.
Yes.
So we might see her.
Using
the UN platform.
Using that platform to advocate for stronger measures against discrimination and hate speech.
Yeah, which, I mean, could have a real impact.
It could have a real impact, especially with her representing the U.S.
Representing the U.S., yeah. No. Shifting gears a little bit.
Okay.
Back to domestic politics. I mean, how does Stefanik's departure from Congress impact the political landscape here in the U.S.?
Her congressional district is considered solidly pro-Trump.
Right. So it will likely remain Republican.
Remain Republican. Yeah. However,
it's got fucking House.
Already so tightly divided.
Right. Even one less.
Even one less.
Republican vote.
Republican vote
could make it harder.
Make it harder for
the party.
The party to push through its agenda.
Push through its agenda.
So this move could have
ripple
effects.
Far beyond the UN.
Far beyond the UN.
Huh.
I mean,
you know, it's also worth considering that Stefanik's departure could further fuel partisan divisions.
Fuel those partisan divisions.
Especially
considering, you know, her strong support among Trump's base. Right. So in the end, I mean, it seems like Stefanik's appointment as UN ambassador sends a strong signal about Trump's continued influence and loss and
His vision for America's place in the world.
His vision for America's place in the world. Absolutely.
It raises a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
Like, will Stefanik's approach lead to more conflict?
Yeah.
Or will she be able to face complex global challenges?
This diplomacy, I mean.
It's tough to say.
It's really tough to say.
And then, I think, you know, even more importantly, her tenure impact, the UN's ability to effectively address pressing global issues like climate change, global poverty, which really require international cooperation. I mean, those are all
things to think about.
So, thanks for diving deep with us today.
Of course.
Until next time, boys.